Hey everyone, Caleb the Antique Book Collective, and today I'm going to be showing you guys how to fix books the way that I do it, the way that resellers do it. Of course, I'm going to preface this is not the best way to do it out there. It's not going to be the way that you're going to do it if you're going to pay $500 for a perfect repair job. It's not the way that everyone out there is going to do it the right way, but it is a very good way to do it if you guys are resellers like me, and if you're doing this with the non-super high-end books. Again, guys, this is not for every single book out there. If you guys are dealing with like a first edition of the Time Machine like I had, I did not repair that one. I could have done some repairs on it, but I did not because I knew for a fact that I was not skilled enough for it. This is for the more books along the lines of like under $100 most of the time, or maybe a smidgen over that sort of stuff. The books that you can definitely repair and get a little bit more money on and that sort of stuff. But as I say that, let me just say also, guys, that not every book is worth repairing. Not every book will increase in value to the point that it is actually worth you spending an hour or even 5 minutes on fixing up and repairing. Now, personally, I like cleaning every single book that I get, or most of the books, depending on how dirty they get. I like to clean them, but I do not recommend that you fix every single book. And in the little workshop, work with me over the shoulder sort of thing that I'm going to do with you guys, I'm going to show you a couple books that I will actually not be repairing, and then I'm going to repair 3 different books for you guys with a couple different methods on how I do that. I know it's not going to be the best way that you do it. Again, I know I've said this 5 times, but this is something that can definitely work. So with all that said and done, I will see you guys over at my workshop thing, which is just over there. All right, everyone, so I'm back at my little impromptu workstation. This, again, is where I just take most of my photos. And today I'm going to show you guys just how I do some spot repairs on some of the books that I get. So this is, of course, not the best way that you're supposed to repair books. However, it is the way that I do it because it's the easiest for me. I know I'm going to get yelled at by some like hardcore antique book enthusiasts, but again, this is just how I do it because I am not repairing every single book that I get, especially not the ones that are the highest value ones. I'm getting the more middle of the line ones that I know I can fix up and make look a little bit prettier. So with that said, let me just grab something over here really quick. So here's one book, guys. This one is from 1839. It's Robert Burns. It's a very popular book. However, its spine is gone. In fact, this is all of the spine that I have, which is just the bottom part right here. I very well could fix the books this way, the way that I'm going to show you guys, but I'm not going to because I know that I don't want to do that with this book. I know I could very well end up damaging it a whole lot, so I'm not doing that. So another group of books that I will not be repairing because I know I do more harm than good is these old Shakespeare ones from the late 1800s. They're pretty, but they don't really have covers. I think I only have like 5 covers for all of them. So I'm not going to do those. I'm going to do the more middle of the line ones that it's just small repairs. I'm not going to do anything extreme. If I was having something extreme, all that sort of stuff, if I was dealing with really nice antique books, I would be going to professional if I really wanted to. Again, guys, this is not going to be for every single book. This is just going to be some of the books that you get. So with that said and done, the 2 spots that I'm going to be repairing right now is this one on this old Bible and this one on this Kipling book. So as you can see here, the paper is coming loose, or maybe this is leather. It's really pathetic leather if it is. This one is leather, and it's just peeling a bit, so I'm just going to fix that one. And the last thing is actually a book that I've already shown you guys. It's just a mass market paperback. As you guys can see, this little signature of pages is coming loose, and I'm just going to repair all of these with my favorite thing. However, this, while it is my favorite thing, so Fabri-Tac permanent adhesive, this is made for, as you guys can see here, it's acid-free, it's washable, it works fast, and it is good for fabrics, lace, glass, leather, wood, and trims. And I find it also works really, really great for paper. And if you think about it, paper is basically just a mix between wood and basically fabric. Like if you really think about it, it's sort of fabric-y and it's made out of wood. So that's how I actually stumbled across this one and how it works so stinking well for me. Something I love about Fabri-Tac over just normal tacky glue is tacky glue, it gets a little hard, whereas this one, it's like a rubbery thing, and even when it's older, it stays rather rubbery. So I really have enjoyed the Fabri-Tac. I'll be linking to that in the description. You can get it on Amazon. It's really nice. I personally like to have these smaller, so it's the 4 fluid ounce sizes. However, I do have a very large bottle that away that you guys can get, but this one's just a lot more manageable for doing the jobs with. You guys can work with a toothpick or a sewing needle, all those sorts of things. There's a lot of different ways that you guys can definitely do this with. For me, again, I just like doing it straight out of this bottle because it's a manageable size bottle, but I do like to keep a sewing needle or a toothpick or something like that on hand in case I get a little excessive and mess things up. So with that said, I'm just going to first hit the Bible. So I know, guys, that I've already said something about this, about don't you ever store your books with rubber bands, but there actually is a time and a place for rubber bands, and that is when you're doing book repairs like this. And I don't know for sure if I'm going to do rubber band on this one, but I might. It depends basically on how it looks when I get there. So with that said, I'm just setting the Bible down. You gotta do this a little bit to get all the glue on the end, but just going to, oh, it's not down just yet. This bottle's running a little empty, so that's why I'm having to do that a little bit more. All right, here we go. So I do a very, very, very conservative amount of this Fabri-Tac when I'm doing these books, and sometimes I even use the tip to like pat it around a little bit to make sure that all the areas all the areas are covered, and then you can just carefully roll it on down. And the way that I stumbled across this was I saw that it works for leather and for all these other things, and because so many books are bound in leather, particularly the ones that I find that have issues that I actually want to fix, this works really well. So as you guys can see, that is how we are looking right now. It's not quite straight, so it's nice because this does dry sort of quick, but not so fast that you have to worry. So I was able to just straighten things out a little bit, and it looks absolutely great. I mean, if someone was just looking at it, they would look at that and think it's just a fold. But in fact, it was actually just a part where the leather was peeling, but I was able to fix that. And I'm not going to say in my eBay listing, I'm not going to say, oh, I'm the one that fixed it and I did this and this and this. I'm going to say just vaguely, the book has been repaired. So someone will know, oh, there have been repairs that happened. The reason why you don't want to say you did it is because you'll have someone yell at you potentially, and I don't like getting yelled at, even though I'm telling you guys what I know is going to get me yelled at for. So this is for you guys. Don't make me regret it. Next thing is the Kipling book. I know I've talked about this before, but it's got a little pinwheel on it. So when it's upright like this, and when it's from the actually I'll hold it upright for you guys. So when it's this little swastikas like this, and when it's from like the before Hitler, that actually is not a swastika. That is a hate symbol. That is actually like a thing of peace, hope, all that sort of stuff. It's actually supposed to be a good thing back then. Hitler just completely ruined it because he was psychotic and evil. So with that said, I'm just going to repair this tiny bit of leather. I wish I had this little section of leather, but I only have this little bit. So I'm just going to do the same thing again. Again, guys, very conservative amount of this Fabri-Tac. You don't want to have it leaking out. It just makes such a mess. It is actually pretty easy to clean off if you guys do make a mess, but I don't like making a mess. So with that said, just pushing that on down. Here's just a little piece of paper that I just ripped off. It was just some cardboard that wasn't doing anything. It was just in my way. So there's that. Throwing him away. And as you guys can see, again, I just fixed it. It looks not quite like new, but that is going to prevent further damage from happening to that little bit, and it looks pretty nice. So I'm going to just examine everything else. So as we can see here, there is some damage to the slipcase. I'm not going to be repairing that. That's a little bit too much work for what I'm going to be doing with this one. It looks like it got like stabbed at some point. And again, I'm not going to be fixing that because I can't fix that, but with that, I just saved this one from getting further damage. So with those two things done for just cover essence stuff, let's move on to the harder stuff. And as you guys can see, I just pulled off some stuff from my little workstation. This is why you don't want to work on burlap. This is a burlap brain fart. It's like a corkboard. There we go. And it's wrapped in burlap. So it's not the best thing to work on. You guys want to work on a smooth surface. I'm just doing this for you guys, and because I'm doing this for you guys, I damaged my books a little bit. Here's some debris from the books, which is sad. But that particular book that left all the stuff was already pretty damaged. So win some, you lose some. I'm doing this for you guys, so hopefully it saves some books in the long run. So with all that said and done, guys, on to the next book. So as you guys can see here, the signature is almost entirely loose. And signature, guys, that's just a thing that you describe pages as. It's a long, lengthy process, so you guys can Google it. It's sort of obvious when you think about it, but I'm not going to explain it because I don't want to waste anyone's time more than what I'm doing already. So with that said, guys, as you can see here, with mass market paperbacks, it's actually a little bit easier than other books sometimes to just put those pages back where they belong, because you can see exactly where they are separating from the spine. So as you guys can see there, that is about the size of my bottle's end. So I'm just going to literally just run one little bead all the way across. And then when I get that done, I'm going to show you guys what I end up doing usually. So again, well, actually I got some dust on this end, so that won't stick properly. So just going to pinch that off. And since this is washable, you can actually just rub it in your fingers and it'll come off pretty easy. So with that said, getting it all down, and now just running again, guys, a very conservative amount of this stuff. You don't want to get it anywhere other than where the pages will have to be sticking again, because doing so will end up causing all the pages to stick where they shouldn't be sticking. So just a nice small amount. And you guys know how with hot glue, how it gets all the strings and how those strings can make such a mess of hot glue. So this Fabri-Tac does get that same sort of string stuff going on. So that is something you guys do want to be a little bit careful with. So don't be pulling up every couple of seconds, because that'll get a whole lot of strings everywhere and you'll have to grab those strings. And I know you guys aren't probably going to see the strings that I just fiddled with a little bit, but they definitely were there. So with that said, I laid down my little bead of tape, and something I will, not tape, sorry, my glue. And something I will say, guys, is you will want to clean these books off where you are doing these things. You don't want big chunks of dust and whatnot, because that will affect how the glue sticks. But again, this is just for a rough example, so I'm not going to be doing it quite as well as I should be. So I am still looking at where we just were. I'm pressing down the signature that was coming loose, and just pressing it down, making sure that it is where I want it to be. You guys, of course, will be doing this with a little more care than what I'm doing it with, because again, this is a mass market paperback that I am just going to be throwing away when this is all over. So something I like to do is open up into some point into the signature and like press down carefully, and just do that a few times just to make sure that the pages are set as low as they can be. Something that I'm going to point out, I'm sure you guys can see this because I'm on a good camera, is the pages are still actually sticking out with how I've done this repair. And a lot of that is because of just the fact that sometimes no matter what you do, the book is still going to be damaged. And the other issue with this is just the fact that it's a mass market paperback and those aren't really made to last forever. So that is something that's going to be a problem in the long run for this book. But again, I'm throwing this book away. Something that you guys can do, this goes back to the rubber band thing that I talked about earlier, is you guys want these things to sit properly, or seat properly. So you want to do one rubber band at the top, one rubber band at the bottom. Generally, I like to get it as close to the end as possible. And depending on the book, I like to get a couple more rubber bands on it. With this one, I'm just doing these two. And then something else that I do, this is a interesting bit. So after I do one on the top and one on the bottom, and I then get it as close to the edge as possible, and I'll explain why you want to do that in a little bit. So get these rubber bands as close to the bottom seam or bottom corner, and then as close to the top corner. And the reason why you want to do something like that is because of this next step that I do, is you're going to actually wrap a rubber band around the entire thing. And the reason why I like doing that is to make sure that I get good pressure all the way across on the repair that I made. So just, again, guys, I'm not doing this as properly as I should be, and I actually just completely messed up. But something that I like to do when I'm able to do it, it's a lot easier with hardcover books, don't worry, guys. But when I do it, is I make sure that I do this and I get the rubber band so it's actually pressing on all the signature pages that actually came loose. And that generally helps the new glue that I put on stick pretty well. It also makes sure that the pages stick down a little more. Again, since this is a paperback book, I've never actually repaired a paperback book on this. So, I don't know, I might just do rubber bands like this. And as I've said before in other videos, you don't want to do rubber bands because they do cause long-term damage. But with this mass market paperback, it doesn't really matter. In fact, it matters so little that I'm going to toss it. Because, again, guys, I wasn't planning on keeping this. Okay, which, now that we are this far, let me just show you guys something interesting that the Fabri-Tac does. It makes this nice little bubble sometimes, which is a little bit annoying and a little bit weird to play with, and it's really hard to save it once it's done that, so I'm just going to pinch it all off. You guys normally want to just clean it off when you're done, and then put your lid back on, and it's really simple. This stuff keeps and keeps. I mean, I've had this particular bottle for a couple of years since I haven't been doing a whole lot of repairs, but it keeps very well, and it, again, guys, works really nice at saving your books and now that I've done this, you guys can see just how sticky stuff we're looking at. As you can see how malleable it is, how bendy, all that sort of stuff. So after running a lot of tests, I found that this was the best particular stuff for me. And again, I know this is not what all the antique book dealers will do. I know it's not what the professional museum people do. But at the end of the day, we're not all professional book repairers. We are booksellers. And sometimes it just takes a little bit of doing it not quite right, but not terrible, to make your books a little more valuable and also make it so they last a little bit better. So if you guys are doing this for your own personal collection, or if you're doing it for reselling, this can, and I'm gonna say can with like italics, this can be something that can help your guys' books look a little bit nicer. Again, it is not always the best way to do it. I understand that. I know I'm gonna get yelled at anyways, but this is something that you guys can do. So with all that said and done, I hope that really helps you guys, and I will see you back on the big screen. Alright guys, so with all that said and done, now that we've shown you guys how to do that, that is again just how I repair the books. The particular thing that I use to fix the books, the Fabri-Tac, again that's going to be linked in the description. It works very well. It's acid free. When you guys are doing repairs, you want to do stuff that is acid free. Do not be using tape, because a lot of tapes have acid in it. There are some like can't remember the exact word for it, but there are tapes that museums use to save old paper stuff, and that can be something that you guys do. It's not something I do because it's just a little too costly for me, and on top of that, I don't like how it looks in books. But there are a lot of things that you guys can do. For me, again, the Fabri-Tac works very well for me. It is not the most amazing thing out there for everyone, but it is something that can work, and it is better than the alternatives. The alternatives being the tacky glue that you guys always see, or even Elmer's glue. Both of those are not the best things for repairing books. The only reason why I have them is actually for another aspect of my business that has nothing to do with actually fixing old books. It's actually like binding new ones, that sort of stuff. But that's not something you guys need to worry about. So with all that said and done, I hope that really helped you guys. If you guys want to learn how to clean the books the way I do, you can check out one of my other videos. If you guys want to learn more about antique book businesses in general, you can subscribe up there. And I will see you guys in the next one.